Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, whoa. Am I on? Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This is going to be Better Call Saul, Season 6, Episode 3, Ozymandias. No, it's Rock in a Hard Place. Wow, what an episode of television. Had me glued to my screen the whole time. Another one of these evenings where I was kind of tired when I started my evening, but very quickly in this episode, it just filled me with a sense of complete dread. I didn't think they were going to do the thing that they ended up doing at the end of the episode, but they actually paid it off. Because as someone said in the live chat, I forgot whose show I was watching here. And wow, they just came out. They're not wasting any time. This is the final season of Better Call Saul. This is a Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould show. And they are balls to the wall. And if it doesn't make sense to have a storyline go too far, they're going to stop it when it organically makes sense. They've been wanting to pay off this Nacho storyline for years. I've heard them talk about it on the Insiders podcast because of other things that came up on the show. They constantly pushed back and didn't give Nacho a lot of stuff to do. This was his maybe best episode as an actor on the entire show, and he was excellent on the entire series so far. But tonight's episode might have been his best performance, like award-winning awesomeness by Mondo. Mark Mondo, is that his name? Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, in the comment section. But wow, what an acting performance. And then a lot of cool stuff with the Kim and Jimmy stuff, even though it was sparse. More Kim Breaking Bad, you know, like her whole thing about, so what do you think I should do, Kim? Well, you can talk to the cop, or you can be a friend of the cartel, or you can be a goddamn rat. What do you think? And then coupling that with what happened to Nacho in this episode, wow. In Mike's whole dynamic, what was Mike hoping was going to happen in that situation? We're going to get all through this episode, break it down, explain what the fuck happened here in this episode of Better Call Saul. Wow. And I guess, spoiler alert, but if you clicked on a recap explained video for a show that just aired, most likely you have seen this episode. But if you haven't, this is your last warning before I say the thing that I'm probably obviously implying anyways, so it probably doesn't really matter. And that is, of course, last warning. Rest in peace, Ignacio. Rest in peace, Nacho. What an episode. Seriously, what an amazing go-out episode. This was an amazing last dance kind of episode. There's a lot of people in shows and times that have moments like this, but this was one of the best in an individual Breaking Bad universe thing, or a lot of other shows. I know I'm a victim of hyperbole here. I come out here, this whole show could be called Phil and his hyperbole, but I don't give a goddamn. Wow. This was one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. This had me glued to my screen every minute, and as I said earlier, I did not think they were gonna do the thing. I'm like, they're not actually doing the thing this episode. It's gonna be some weird fake out where Mike and Gus set this up with fake bullets, and he runs to Victor, and Victor fake kills him, and then he runs off and scurries off, and then they send him off to a lifetime of happiness in the like in the Florida Keys or something. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do, but no part of me really thought they were going through with this tonight, and that just takes another player off the table to help narrow this focus, which I've speculated a little bit that we may get into Breaking Bad territory in the back half of the episodes. I think I hinted at this, or sort of was jokey about the fact that maybe we would finish off all of our main storylines pretty damn soon. And that's kind of what happened here with Nacho. They gave us the proper time for this story to complete. And I'm completing all over the place. My TV gasms are squeezing in multiple areas. This hit me on all ends. Wow. And I'm going to repeat myself a lot, but I don't care. I'm just going to say incredible acting performance. Just like when you comment on the cinematography on this show. I'm looking at the camera like I'm on the camera right now, but I know, hey, everybody, hi, I'm Phil the Issues Guy. Let's get back to the star of the hour here. But cinematography on this show is just disgusting. Like, I'm gonna get sick of mentioning it in every scene. They're just fucking around now. They're not even, it's beyond just coming natural to them in the way that it explores itself. And then I'm just used to so many shows giving me television blue balls. Like, even in final seasons, dead walking disaster. That you just keep trying to, jerk your television stuff, jerk it, just because you only have one come in you. These guys have multiple orgasms of television experiences every season. And at the end of this series, they have so much to tell us and so much to do that they can take a whole episode here, give us a 95% Nacho episode, and say goodbye to him in a satisfying way that does not hold back and give us this ultimate conclusion of an episode. And some people would think of this as episode 2, but episode 3 of this season, Nacho's gone. Now, and the Salamanca'S are having to be pacified by this belief, but Lalo doesn't think that. Lalo still thinks it's the Chicken Man. And well played by Nacho, too. Just the performance by him when he screams at Hector there. We're going to listen to that performance later when we get to it in the recap. But wow, that was very Nacho. Again, if we're doing the comparison of comparing his arc and his performance in some ways to Jesse at times, again, it reminded me of like when Jesse's just like, I'm not fucking around with you anymore, Mr. White. I'm in control of the situation. And wow. But speaking of which, Joe Dirty Locks may or may not jump in with us tonight, depending on if he has a chance to watch the episode when he gets home from work and wants to jump on. But that's going to be Joe's thing. He might jump in several times throughout the season, or we might not actually see him, and we might have to do a what did Joe think towards the end of the season. But I can tell you what Joe's thinking. Joe's fucking loving this shit. But I am always not alone when I'm out here. Of course, I have with me the live motherfucking chat. Let's see who we got in here. In the chat tonight, we got Death Proof, we got Melly, we got Jay, we got Corey fucking Mitchell. If only Nacho had crawled under the dumpster, then we would have really known we were watching AMC. Killmonger still hasn't seen season 6 yet. So, Killmonger, block your ears. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't spoil anything for you tonight, but it's great to see you in the live chat, buddy. Nacho went to the farm. Yes, Nacho looked at the rabbits, Larry. Just stare at Lenny. Stare at the rabbits, Lenny. Larry. What am I thinking of? Balky and Larry from Perfect Strangers? Lenny. Stare at the rabbits, Lenny. We got Ian thrown in the live chat. We got Jeffrey Townsend. Hold your horses, everyone. Is Nacho dead, or was that a body double? Jeffrey, we can explore that in a second. I think he's dead. Nickelodeon dead. Nacho is real dead. With the dead here and the dead there. But we do live in a universe here of the Breaking Bad Better Call Saul universe that last episode we were established that there's a lookalikes, or that some people have lookalikes. So Gus theoretically could have set up something like that if he cared enough about having Nacho stay alive. I don't think Nacho has the resources necessarily to get a body double, and I don't think Gus wanted him alive enough to sink his resources into building that kind of thing. I would love that. I would love the return of Ignacio. But I think he's Nickelodeon dead, personally. But I hope so. Rest in peace, Nacho. The way Nacho told piece of shit Hector off, I loved it, motherfucker. It was one of the best on the way out speeches in the television show in a while. There's been a lot of versions of that speech before character goes. And one was in Breaking Bad. I'm Hank Schrader, go fuck yourself. Or, whatever Hank says. I'm paraphrasing. That was a fucking great one, too. And that's why I'm calling this episode, and who knows what we'll get down the road in Better Call Saul. To me, in some ways, this had that same energy to the way I felt about watching it as I did when watching Ozymandias. Again, I'm not going to one-for-one the episodes and put where we were at the time we were watching that to the time that I'm watching this now, but I have those feelings in my body at that moment when Hank's fate was sealed, and the moment you don't realize he killed me 5 minutes ago. Like that kind of vibe. And so that's the reflective. If I seem a little deer in the headlights right now and a little lost for words, that's me lost for words. What would that even look? What would be me lost for words? Well, yeah. That's probably what it would be. I'd still make noises. But by the way, if you have any thoughts or comments or questions that I might miss in the chat, feel free to call on in and leave us a voicemail. I'm going to try to get it hooked up for next week to be able to actually talk, get calls to talk. But for now, still leave voicemails if you would like. It's 781-990-8509. Give us your eulogy for Mr. Nacho. What'd you think of this episode? Am I overdoing my praise for this particular episode? Or is this an instant classic in the Gilligan and Peter Gould universe? And I would say all three of these episodes are or especially the first episode and the third episode. I liked the second episode of the three, viewing them again. I have loved all three episodes of this season. The season's setting up to be one of the best seasons of all of these two shows' universes. But this was probably one of my, and I might say this a lot, this was one of my favorite episodes of Better Call Saul. This delivered the build-up and the excitement that I was feeling. I've been waiting for this full Nacho episode, and it's a shame that it ends up being his death episode, but they did the character justice, and they did the storyline justice, and they succeeded at making me sit there after the episode was done with this fucking look on my face, crying for a friend to help me, like where is it? It was supposed to play a song right there. I'm off.
Shut the fuck up, Joe.
Not Joe. Joe doesn't have to shut up. Tim, come on. But no, I was just sitting there staring. I was going to play some emotional music or something. But great episode. Miss Tailored Home. I was not prepared for that. My Tailored Home, not Miss. I don't know why I said Miss. My Tailored Home. I was not prepared for that either. It goosed my television goosies. It grabbed me and squeezed me and popped my brain. Because again, my brain kept talking me out of seeing the thing I thought I was going to see. So when it actually happened on screen, I was like, no, that's not real. Did that just happen? No. Because I just wasn't ready for it. I didn't think the show was going to really go for it like that this early. I thought they were going to build this up a bit more. And not because they needed to, just because I'm conditioned to shows doing crap like that. And this show has no fucking chill. And yes, Corey Mitchell, amazing episode. Thisby, anyone else Google during the commercial break what the desert, symbolizes? Humility. There's a shot of the flower besides the broken glass right before Nacho shoots himself, and also parallels to the beginning of the episode. And what color was that? Hamlinian blue? Like when Hamlin creates his own blue character. Let's get back into the bottom of the live chat here. And Melisandre can bring Nacho back. Let's hope. Let's pray to the red god. Get it back. Mike wanted to go so differently. That makes me think, did Mike have a different plan, or did he just half-heartedly accept the fact that there was no other fate to this? And what was he hoping was going to happen when he's like, do it, kid, like run off or something? Because he would rather Victor kill him. I'm not sure what Mike was hoping was going to happen in that moment to settle the situation differently, if he had a side plan that gave Nacho some outs. Theory, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul is in the PSG universe, and there's a Cylon resurrect ship full of Nachos in orbit. How about Nacho telling Hector? Great, amazing. At the end of the episode, Nacho telling Hector off was probably one of my favorite moments. Just to hear it, and the acting performance was incredible, and it worked so well. And even just Hector's performance in reaction to it, like when they showed him there, and then the end of the episode when it just ends on like the gunshots being over and over and stuff like that. It was just intense as hell.
Him? You think the chicken man?
You think the chicken man?
What a joke. Alvarez has been paying me for years, but you know what? I would have done it for free because I hate every last one of you psycho sacks of shit. I opened Lalo's gate, and I would do it again, and I'm glad what they did to him. He's a soulless pig, and I wish I killed him with my own hands. And you know what else, Hector? I put you in that chair. Oh yeah, your heart meds. I switched them for sugar pills.
I picked the wrong day to stop drinking.
You were dead and buried, and I had to watch this asshole bring you back. So when you are sitting in your shitty nursing home and you're sucking down on your Jell-O night after night for the rest of your life, you think of me. You twisted fuck.
Oh, sorry to laugh like a cackle like an idiot. Wow, dude. Wow. I'm sorry. I might have to play that part over and over on the loop tonight. What a performance. Even better that second time, getting hyped up, knowing what's about to happen. What a way to go out, and someone had to say it. I'm glad Hector heard all of that. Wow. Yeah, absolutely, Mary. I love Nacho's chutzpah at the end, right there. It's chutzpah, as we say back where I'm from. It's you get it really deep for that one. Chutzpah. Oh, sorry. Sorry if my microphone popped right there really loud. Soulless pig. Jeffrey Townsend. That's what just everyone call me. I want my new show to fill the soulless pig issues guy. But yeah, that's what I'm going to start calling people. Next time I'm in a big fight, it's just going to come out. I'm just going to turn into Nacho, you soulless pig. Nacho did sound a lot like Good Dog. Absolutely. Sounded a lot like Tyrion ripping it up, like the dinklage, like when it snaps. And I think sometimes that's just when an actor snaps into that rhythm that feels really natural and real. And I think Dinklage did that in that scene exceptionally well, and that is similar to the way Mondo did that in this scene. He hooked into something. He hooked into his, and I believe, people can correct me where I'm wrong, his foundation as an actor is a voice actor, doing voices in video games and such, and other voiceover stuff. So I have to applaud him as well. I'm sure he's had training all over the board, but his physical acting in this episode and the way his body's getting into it is incredible. And then he has that amazing voice, and he doesn't necessarily have all the opportunities on Better Call Saul to use it. But in this episode, they gave him many different vocal shades to play with at times. You know, when he's talking to his father, the weakness in his voice, back and forth with Mike, having more of like an old boy kind of moment. And then in here at the end, being vicious and dark. It really lets the actor who has the history of the voice acting training and experience of doing that. And again, if I'm wrong, people can correct me, but I'm pretty sure I have in my head that where I first heard this guy through voice acting, like in video games and stuff. But again, either way, everything what I'm saying is still valid. If not, it's just he has an excellent use of his tool is excellent. His instrument is amazing, and he played with a lot of voice change tonight. And that point at the end when he gets the deep voice and Hector, he creates so much menace that you don't necessarily see before in other performances of Nacho. And looking back in this episode now and knowing where it ends up, there was a moment in the episode where he accepts what's about to happen to him, and there's a shift in the performance too. That discomfortability that he knows what's about to happen, and he doesn't give a fuck at this point in time. And it's really awesome. And that's what I saw in the episode that I saw. There's no way. And again, this is why Vince and Peter are Babe fucking Ruth of television, because they call their shot. They pointed it up to the sky. They go, hey, motherfuckers, this is what we're doing. This is what we're goddamn doing. Look, we're gonna kill this guy in this episode. We're showing you and everything we're doing. This guy's gonna kill in the episode. You feel it, you know it, and you're still gonna be surprised. You're still going to be fucking surprised when I do this, when I shove this ball up your ass and hit this out of the goddamn ballpark and kill this guy in a way that your mouth is going to be open. You knew it was going to happen, and you still doubted it because of hundreds of years of 50 years of television conditioning. And holy shit. Oxdub, thank you so much for the super chat donation. It means a lot. I am lazy to go up and get in the wheel, and it's late. So let me Let me just do drinks for super chats. Thank you so much for that super chat. Let me read your comment in a second. More than anything, it means so much to me. I'm also gonna lightning bolt that with a shot of Coca-Cola. The only thing keeping me alive right now. My jaw dropped for like 30 seconds after Nacho took his final nap. I wasn't expecting that, and it's like the poker thing. When if you have a strong hand, you act weaker. If you have a weak hand, you act strong. Excuse me. So much of the episode in some ways were telling us, or I felt like was telling us, this was Nacho's swan song. Seeing the more of him in one episode than we've ever seen before, exploring his storyline, his story going through all these ups and downs. It all seemed like Vince and Peter were telling us this was the last that we're going to see of Nacho. So because of that, it filled me with a sense of, okay, Nacho's not going tonight because there's no way. And then when it actually happens, it happened in a surprising, satisfying way, because even in that moment, you're like, I kept thinking something else is going to happen here. And instead that happened, and it was completely goddamn shocking to me. And the scene was done so well that it was extremely satisfying as well. So they basically called their shot. They literally told you 20 minutes into the episode what was going to happen at the end of the episode. When finally he gets to Gus's place, and we're going to recap this shit, but basically when he gets to Gus's place and he's like, yeah, he gives himself up to Mike, and he's like, all I care about is my father. I'm giving myself up, yada, yada, yada. And they have that sit down. Basically in that moment, it seems like there might be more going on, but at that point, basically in retrospect, it's just Nacho saying, if my father's okay, I accept my fate. There's no getting out of this death. This is the only way I help you. The only way this works out is if I die. So I'm either going to run for the rest of my life and have to worry about my family's safety, or I just have to give myself up. And he says that they say that in a more succinct way, but that's basically what gets decided in the middle of the episode. It gets flat out told you that's going to happen at the end of the episode. And I still didn't fucking believe it. I still was doubting it. I still was watching this episode in utter goddamn shock. And that's the talent that they have. They can show it to you. It's like the magician or something that shows you the trick inside your fucking head and still shocks you with it because they're that goddamn good. And yes, I am licking the labias of Peter and Vince, and I will do it all goddamn season if this shit keeps being this goddamn good. But this is too good not to sit here and bow to the altar. That's not meaning we can't pick things apart if we don't like stuff, and we live in an echo chamber here. If you had any problems with the episodes or nitpicks or whatever, we're here to hear it, and I love hearing it and breaking it apart. Like I said last week, why didn't someone shoot a wheel or something? We can shoot a tire. There's a bunch of shit we could talk about and break apart here, but for me, these remainders of these podcasting episodes for the rest of the season may be just me joining the cult, me praying to the cult masters here about how awesome I like their show and how much they grabbed me by the balls and stretched them behind my head and choked me with them and killed Nacho, you bastards. How dare you kill Nacho? And I'm celebrating you sick fuck. Let's go to the chat. Mandrell's in the chat. Great to see our good buddy Mandrell. Can you imagine what they have in store for the rest of the season? And that's the thing, Mel. Anyone else you might be like, don't shoot your wad too early. They still have so much to deal with now. Holy shit. Like I said earlier, we got a whole Kim situation to talk about here in a little bit. About Kim full out building Saul and full equal part in this situation. And maybe even worse, almost getting annoyed when Jimmy isn't as decisively scummy as she wants to be. Indirectly threatens him. We have Lalo, and now this whole situation that we thought might have been kind of innocuous last week when Jimmy mentions Lalo's name accidentally, and now they're connecting the pieces and wanting Jimmy to rat on Lalo, and Lalo's going to come back here in a pretty minute pretty soon too and figure out what's the Salamanca'S next plan in this situation. But it takes away a big part of the storyline of the Nacho thing that was taking up the big end part of 5 into now. That's all wiped up. So they can really focus on the Jimmy and the Jimmy situation. And combining the Jimmy situation with the Lalo situation and also the Gus situation, because there's not much else that probably needs to be done between the Gus crew and the Salamanca'S at this point. This is probably where the happy truths sort of stays. I mean, when Lalo comes back through Bosa, Donalario, and all that sort of stuff, it's kind of decided that Nacho on his deathbed essentially gave up who it was, so they need to accept that Chicken Man wasn't a part of it. I don't know how easily Lalo's going to deal with that, but he doesn't really have much room for speculation, although he is alive. Hector knows he's alive. I don't know if the twins know he's alive. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Lalo comes back into the situation next week, theoretically. So we get a lot of stuff to figure out. So we're going to see a lot of the building of the Saul character and the building of the office. And the office getting Francesca back in the situation probably by the end of this half of the season. More and more, I'm thinking these final episodes are going to be a lot of setup to get us to Breaking Bad timeline stuff. More and more than ever, it's looking like part of this final season, the second half of the final season, is going to be taking place in Gene timeline and a lot of it in Breaking Bad timeline too. At least that's where things are looking. So I'm excited to see all this. Obviously, we have the Howard thing to get through this half of season 2, which I do think will probably mostly be handled by the end of this season. The only thing I think will be the stretching sort of story is Jimmy with the cartel and how that's handled. But anyways, great to see Mandrell in the live chat. Nacho's head was all messed up with no pillow on his last ride. Hey, Mike, you should have given him a pillow. Mike, why are you such an asshole? I still hedge my bet that Lalo ends up in Corinthians in the south wall, and we saw him resting spot the whole time during Breaking Bad lab scenes. Very possible, Jay. Speaking of Jay, Big Jay, if you're out there and you're checking these out, it's been a long time, buddy. Definitely call it in and leave a voicemail. We'll play it on the following show. I know sometimes you used to check these things out later, but I want to send a lot of love out to Big Jay. I know there's some people that just come back and watch us just for one show here, one show there. So some of our Better Call Saul people, lots of love to Big Jay. Good dog. What if the season will end with a close-up of King and cut to black as "Don't Stop Believin'"? Don't stop believing. Don't stop. We get the douchebag David Chase ending. Let's cut. I'm not gonna. No. I'll save that for the eventual Sopranos series finale with Matt that we'll do one day. We're gonna get at least one full Gene episode. I agree. I think I'm saying it might even be the last episode. The last things we see may be Gene timeline. And I'm curious, people in the live chat or in the comment section, how do you think this series is going to end? And I know we're a long ways off from that, but seeing how they end in episode 3, seeing the stakes that they're building up here, not just what is a satisfying ending, what is the ending you want, how do you see them ending this series? Whereabouts? I see them ending it in the Gene black and white. Modern time, as far down the road of the Breaking Bad timeline as we can go. And I do think we're going to get more Breaking Bad timeline moments all through the final 6 episodes of the second half. So, yeah, so I think the last thing we see is, I don't know what that is. We'll get to that in the between the 2 seasons, what I actually think the final shots will be. But I do think the last shots we see are in the Gene timeline. No. If Howard smells the baby powder, he'll know it's Jimmy setting him up. I smell what the Jimmy's cooking, good dog. Don't we have a glob of diamonds that Gene has dumped? Yes, we do. We have the diamonds. We have the money. We have a lot of Gene stuff to handle. We have Gene having to handle the guys that know he's Saul and said that he's going to do it himself. There's a lot of Gene stuff. He needs to close at Cinnabon, and that's an important job too. That needs to happen too, and he needs to get me some Cinnabons. Those are delicious. Better Call Saul does not particularly end well for anybody. No, Jeffrey Townsend, it does not. And I don't think anybody gets a happy ending. If to quote Tyrion again, if you think you're gonna get a happy ending, you're watching the wrong story. I think it ends sad. And that's why I've thought in it, one of the endings that would be interesting. It's something to do with the foreshadowing of Walter leads to his death, and something to do with the first time we see Walter is the music, and it ends with Walter going to see Saul for the first time and then crosses that with Jean dying or something. Who knows? Pretty awesome. I just started watching the show because of you. I probably wouldn't have otherwise because I wasn't invested in Saul on Breaking Bad. Pretty awesome. Thank you so much. That means everything to me. Part of the reason why I do this, other than just getting to talk about this show with people afterwards, so I don't have to bother people in my regular life, is that very reason, to get people to, mention a show and have you check it out and hopefully have you enjoy it. So I'm so glad you are loving it so far and on the ride with us here to the end. It is more of an awesome time, not just because of your name, but just because more the merrier. So I do appreciate that. And if you're in the live chat right now and you're checking this out, hit that like button. It helps this get out to more people. So I do appreciate that, and share it out, as I know some of you do anyway. And it's very much appreciated to help spread the word to more folks. And thank you so much. Saul, the cleaning lady, will find the diamonds. The opening moving scene happened before the cops raid the house. The opening moving scene happened before the cops raid the house. Yes, it did. I believe so. The only thing happy we might get would be Kim and Jean somehow together. I don't know if I can get behind it, in the sense that we see that Kim and Jimmy are still together somehow, like she ran away with him somehow, and they're together in the black and white timeline, and they've managed to keep their thing together for so long. Possible. I don't know how Kim's end is going to be. I still am not convinced Kim is dying, although there was some major foreshadowy type stuff tonight in this episode with, if you want to be a rat, meaning what would the cartel do if Jimmy actually did talk? They might not kill him because would need him moving forward, but they wouldn't have any problem killing Kim. But I still think Kim is alive and loses her license and ends up doing like minimal time in jail, but it sort of fucks with her life. And then she's working at Walmart or something. That's personally what I think. It's on the screen right now. 781-990-8509. Again, 781-990-8509 if you want to call or text in if I somehow miss your stuff. It was Ignacio. Was it Ignacio? The copy of the Time Machine book has to mean something. We're definitely going to get, no way Saul is a rat. I don't think he's a rat either. The look in his face, he doesn't want to be a rat. Not to mention, he's in this point so in Kim. Nope. Kim's so in him that he doesn't want to disappoint her. There's a sense of Kim is taking the place of Chuck for him, the person that he wants to impress all the time. And how he's impressing her is through Slip and Jimmy stuff. So you can see when he starts to doubt something, there's a moment in this episode, and we'll get to the breakdown, but where he's trying to be smarter about something and he's thinking, and she doesn't like it, and then he throws another scam quickly out there to try to get her to smile. So she's like, in a weird way, being a bizarro Chuck to him. It was amazing stuff tonight. So let's not waste any more time with this shit babblery. Let's get into this thing, as it's about that time. It's for Rhythm in the Rhyme. It's time for me to stop stalling and start balling. It's time for the recap! Recap! That's right. Time for the recap here of this episode. We got, speaking of the best I appreciate that. Tony Pajamas. Tony Pajamas! One of the best names in all of YouTube. I want to wear some Tony Pajamas. Tony Pajamas, I want to sponsor. It's my goal in life to get big enough to get a brand of pajamas called Tony Pajamas. But fucking recap time. See, this is what happens when I'm actually excited. Oh my goodness. I'm out of shape. Do you know what that recap dance proved to me? That I've been watching too much Walking Dead and I'm not excited when I do recaps, so I'm out of breath. See the sweating? I need some Tony Pajamas. I need to go in the other room and put on my Tony Pajamas. But holy shit. Nelly Mac, you're a legend, Phil. Thanks for doing the show. Ben, you guys are legends. You guys are amazing. Without any of you checking this out, even if there was a couple of you, but seeing so many awesome names and voices and friends all over the years of getting to do this show and other shows, it's because of you guys I get to come out here. It gives me the energy to jump around like an idiot and enjoy myself. You guys are incredible. Let's listen to, we got Jay's voicemail before we start. Let me see if I can figure this out. Sorry, my setup is a little weird right now. Let me see. Let me push this up. Thanks. Here we go. Let's see if do I got it?
Prediction.
Here we go.
The show ends in a flash forward of Breaking Bad, showing where Saul went at the end of Breaking Bad. Also, I really, really hope that your prediction about Kim isn't true. That would suck. I would rather her just die. Like that. Your ending really sucks. Like I think it would be a better ending if she just died. All right, later.
Fair enough, Jay. That it could. I think, and that's why I'm thinking. I think the most depressing ending for Kim, unfortunately, isn't even her dying. It's her losing everything that's important to her. And losing it because of her relationship and getting high off the Saul of it all. So I agree. My ending sucks. It does. And I think Kim's ending sucks for her. And I think that's part of... But the question is... Actually, I might be wrong in the sense because the question is, did Saul Jimmy go on an all-time high? You know, build up in was going through the golden years of his career post the stuff... Breaking Bad. I mean, post the Better Call Saul stuff. For those few years in between the end of Better Call Saul and the start of Breaking Bad, was Saul living high off the horse, building that great house, having all this stuff, not worrying about it. And then are we supposed to believe in this storyline that Walter coming into the picture fucked everything up for everybody? Walter is what got everyone killed. So, and everyone caught because he had what Tony Soprano calls cowboyitis. Walter had the cowboyitis. He didn't just want money. He didn't just want to save his family. He didn't just want to cook meth. He wanted to be Heisenberg. He wanted to be the baddest motherfucker in the whole goddamn world. He wanted to take down Gus, not just work with him and make millions. He wanted to rule the world as father and son and make breakfast with Walt Jr. That's what he wanted. He wanted all of that. So are we to think that Saul and Kim after they figured all this out, had a salad years where they made tons of money and they were working within the system both and forth, and then maybe something happens to Kim, something big, like Jay is implying, like a big death or something that was a little bit more fun or a little bit more whatever? Or is this always hell for them? And then Walter was just the last nail in the coffin. So I'm wondering, the end of Better Call Saul might be more positive than we think, because it might be the salad years of Saul and her until at the very end they meet Walter. And Kim says, I think working with this guy's a smart idea because she's his counsel. And Walter walks in, this guy can print money for us, and advises him with working with Walter. And that's the end where both of them make the mistake of letting someone like Walter into their life. Or were they always doomed no matter who eventually came? So, oxygen for me. Cowboyism. Yeah, the cowboy, you got Christopher, you got cowboyitis over here. You want to be, I've seen it before. You want to be a big bad guy, Christopher? You want to be a big bad guy? Imagine we get a scene of Heisenberg shitting in Saul's golden toilet. I would love a comedic Walter White scene, maybe even just an outtake, kind of like the Malcolm in the Middle outtake of Walter shitting on that, of Bryan Cranston fucking with that golden toilet. I would be all about that. Too bad Walter didn't go out with as much respect and panache as our guy Nacho, telling Gus just what a shit stain Gus was. No, instead he had to have Hector do it. Go ding 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 ding. You want to get caught, Christopher? I've seen it before. I think it was after Christopher shot the guy in the foot. To replay the Goodfathers thing. You get caught, cowboyism. I've seen it a million times before. I think that's the episode, The Legend of Tennessee Maltasante, I believe. Okay, so this episode opens up with a shot of the desert. It looks amazing. Amazing focus in the foreground, in the bush. We take our time, as this show always does. And I think that's the wonderful thing of this show. Even like my friend Nick, who was here staying the last week, doesn't usually like shows like this. He doesn't like slow build programs. He likes things to be fast and snappy and funny. That's what, I mean, he likes deeper things too. He's getting better over time, but he doesn't really like things to take their time. He's very much, and he's not like a Michael Bay bang, 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 but he like needs a story to be snappier. Something always needs to be going. We were watching Better Call. I got him a little bit into Better Call Saul, and he's watched that in Breaking Bad, and he's all about it. He's like, I'm not into slow moving shows, but this show makes it tasty, and it's an excellent point. Like, even when this show is slow, it does it tasty. It's like, how are we gonna do that? Just sizzle. It's like with Michael Jackson talking to his band. How are we gonna do that part? We're just gonna sizzle. You just have to sizzle sometimes. We'll get it. And this show just sizzles, even when they do shit like a shot in the desert. And maybe this is, I'm in that point in the relationship where I'm so in love with my partner that, the way little Sally farts makes me sing Whistling Dixie. When you're that in love with someone, everything they do makes you happy, just like, but another show that I didn't love would do something similar, and I'd be like, what a pile of horse's ass this is. But because I'm so in love with this show, every little shot that they do means so much to me. And there was about a million and a half shots in this episode that I want to stop and just say, wow, what the living shit am I watching? This is incredible. And this whole beginning section of this episode, when it started out, as we go through the desert, it totally just takes its time. It like completely just takes its time, nice and slow pan. Sorry, my hand is, I still got to get a stand for this. Slow pan all the way through. As we go through, you keep thinking and this is just a credit to what this show is. You think something's going to happen. Something big's going to happen. And it's innocuous when they finally find what a piece of glass there. We see the flower. And yes, as someone mentioned, I think most people Googled it or searched, what the fuck's that flower mean? Is that lily of the valley? Is that what's going on there? But no, it's more symbolizing what happens to Nacho later on, a little foreshadowing this scene. But taking their sweet old fucking time. Atmosphere up the ass. Listen, not much music, just world sound. Like the shit you fall asleep to at night when you put like earth sounds go. Nature sounds, the sound of nature, sound of rain. Then it rains in the goddamn desert. From the flower, and the way the blue flower comes in or the purple flower comes in. Sorry, I'm a little colorblind. The way that comes through, it's the only color you see coming through all that desert. And then when the rain kicks in, the little change of sound, the audio, they're getting even more amazing with audio editing as well as just the video editing that they're doing. Like the sound design this season is up. Little subtle sounds are like in this, the way the ting, 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 the sound going down there, just incredible. And then we get our theme song. The intro that seems a little shorter this season to give us more time to do more stuff. So, Fizz says, I think we're going to see a scene where Mike tells Saul, if Lalo the cartel ever come for you, tell them it was Ignacio. And that's what he says that in Breaking Bad. Absolutely. That's probably what he says, or maybe the Lalo thing too, because again, I'm pretty sure Saul mentions Lalo at one point during Breaking Bad timeline as well. So there could be something to do with that. I do think we're going to see at least a couple of Mike and Saul scenes before the end of all of this. There needs to be some combining where Mike and Saul work a bit more together and combine. So, fun fact, I'm friends in real life with Michael Imperioli. Really? Melly Mel. I keep calling, I know it's Mel MC. I feel like you told me that during a Sopranos broadcast when I'm like, oh my God, get me in touch. No, Michael Imperioli would hate me. You'd be like, actually, no, because I would like to talk to him, but he's really good with like random movies and television stuff that he said. So we probably have a great time talking. Yesterday, I took his meditation class and we struck up a friendship. I'm trying right now to talk him into watching Breaking Bad. If you ever get to be actual, like, you know, close enough, I would even privately, I would love to talk to. I feel like me. I would love to jam with him. I know he's a musician. I was like, if he ever wants to jam, I'd like to, like, you know, play some drums for his awesome band. Anyways, okay, enough of me gushing over 1 degree of separation for Christopher Moltisanti over there, or Spider. So we pan up. It's just really great sound change as that's my Uncle Tony. He's the guy I went to hell for. And we move faster as we go, and we see the single flower, Hamalingo blue. No, blue glass, redundant, but what a goddamn beautiful shot. We come back in on the wheel of a car. The tires running bold as we see Nacho still driving. He gets out just to feel the tension. He takes the gun out to see if he was followed. Great shot out the back window of the car as someone is coming. He's running in the fields and on top of an oil drum. One of the minor nitpicks, if I just have to say, and this isn't about Better Call Saul as a whole. I think so, Jay. I think in some ways that Kim is I'm not saying they make us hate Kim, but Kim is much more Waltering in this storyline. So I don't think they're going to make us necessarily hate Kim, but I think Kim is going to show her teeth more than ever this season. And she's all in. When she's in something, she's in it all the way. And she's decided she's going to do this. And if she's going to do this bad guy stuff, she's no half measures here. So I think we're going to start to get to the point where we're a little scared of Kim. But I don't think we're going to necessarily hate her, because I don't think she's truly has too much evil in her in the way that Walter always had that in him. I think at core, Kim is a good person that wants to help people, like deep down in there. So I think it's more she's just enjoying the ride of it all and is high off the drugs of it. And we're going to be scared of how far she might push it. But I don't think we're going to hate Kim, if that makes sense. Or I don't think I'm going to. But she could die. She definitely could die. That's an absolute possibility of something that might happen. So we come back into the wheel of the car. We see Nacho driving, gets out. You can feel the tension as he takes the gun, he's falling. Great shot off the... Okay, so one of the few things that I didn't like is, and this isn't a discredit to Better Call Saul as a whole. This is a discredit to all television programs and movies as a whole at the moment. Trailers show too fucking much. I don't want to see any trailers. The minute I saw the oil drum, I knew we were going into the scene where he was going to go underneath the oil, like dip under the oil and almost get caught, but be okay. And I know that the episode ended up fine. And I mean, the episode, the way it was depicted, if you had never seen the fucking trailer, wouldn't have been a problem at all. And again, I don't even think Vince and Peter and their team cut the trailers. I think it's cut from AMC promotion department. But whatever. They showing us Nacho in that moment took away from one moment of tension that I felt of like, how's he going to get out of this? What's going to happen? I mean, I would have figured it anyway in the scene, but I don't necessarily care about trailers, and I don't want to, and I like trailers that show you nothing. And sometimes I feel like there's this leaning towards in trailers in the last 5 years to make them tell too much of a story of a season, or when they show you this is what's going to happen on this season of Better Call Saul and they show you like 5 or 6 scenes of the up and coming season. I fucking hate that. I can't help myself from watching it because I have no chill. It's like the cookie jar. I can't put cookies in the cookie jar. I'm going to eat them all I have to like just buy small packets of cookies and eat them as small packets because if I open something, I'm fucking finishing it. I have no chill. No fucking chill. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get pizza. I'm going to eat a couple slices and save the rest for later. No, whole pizza's dead. The whole pizza's dead. It's fucking dead. I purposely buy smaller packages of shit, like not the king size M&Ms or something, because if I get the king size M&Ms, done. They're fucking done. So if I know that there's previews for next week, trailer, blah, 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 I'm going to want to watch it. Same with spoilers. Give me this fucking spoilers. But I don't really want to eat it. I'm going to be sick. I don't like it. I don't like how it makes me feel, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I do feel like trailers slightly depict a bit too much. And I feel like took a fraction away from the tension of this scene because I knew how he was going to deal with that situation because it's clearly in the trailer that he's underneath the oil. So they could have edited that trailer a little different and not shown him under the water. I mean, under the oil, and just shown him climbing into the oil drum or something. But whatever. That's nitpicky trailer bullshit. It looks like they haven't shown anything in the trailers from the final season part 2. It all seems in part 1. Yeah, me too. It does seem like all part 1. I was hoping it was all going to just be the first couple of episodes, the first 2 episodes that we're going to see everything. But there's still a couple things we haven't seen in the trailer yet. Saul meeting one of being like, I'm the cartel attorney. So we kind of have a hint that he's not going to be a rat. I mean, I don't think anyone thinks he's going to be a rat anyway, because we know future Better Call Saul Breaking Bad stuff. We know the future of this situation. We know he doesn't go rat. He works with the cartel. Like, drama of that situation all over. Saul is not a rat. He doesn't rat. Or if he does, that's huge. That's going to be a huge surprise that he's working for the DA the whole time. But no, he's not. Absolutely fucking not. Okay, so great shot out the window of the car. Someone is coming. He runs into the field on top of an oil drum. And we're about to get another shot of the trailer inside the drum. Still excellent lighting and imagery of him looking out as we see another couple of shots here from the trailer. No words yet in this episode as we're like 10, 15 minutes in, as his eyes are just so expressive. Mark Mondo has amazing expressive acting performance eyes that just work really well. And that's one of the things that Vince and Peter do exceptionally. It's this creating these like pulp-like images with just the visuals of eyes, or the way the twins are walking with the steps and the steps and the steps and the unison walking. This imagery, or even Walter's bald head in the hat, they're just so good at creating these kind of these visual moments, and you get a ton of them with Nacho in this episode. He did give up. You're right about that, Jay. But Mike's not a cop, even though he's a former cop. He knows Mike will actually kill him. No way Saul rats or Mike would never work for him. Exactly, Mel. No words yet in the episode, just his eyes. So expressive. Great performance. One of those times I wish I didn't see the trailer, as I know he's going to hide in the oil, but still really fucking cool. And he does it, and it's awesome. We see the Twinny coming, but Twinny looking inside, dipping his head inside the oil drum was another really just cool-looking thing. Then we get another Twinny. The Twinny leaves, and Nacho comes up and is like... he looks like the dude that killed Tasha Yar in Star Trek The Next Generation. I hope he wipes off or gets naked because he's going to leave some oil footprints. But whatever. He finally comes up, and God damn it, Nacho's been through hell, and his performance is all in. What great physical acting in this scene. And I don't think oil's good for your skin. I don't think so. Oh, we do have a text, by the way. We have a text who say, rest in peace, Nacho. I hope we see the Kettlemans again. I hope we see the Kettlemans again too. I like that they brought them back, and I would love to reconnect with some other Better Call Saul characters that we've seen along the way. And I like how characters that seem so nothing, just funny comic relief kind of things, came back and actually made a difference later on. And it's a credit to the way they work this world, the way they work the writer's room, that how can we make this work in a satisfying way? How can we also bring back someone we liked working with? Let's do this. So absolutely awesome. And they stole that second episode with their performances. And rest in peace. Chris Smalls, my guy Phil, love that you're covering Better Call Saul, one of my favorite shows. Thank you so much. It's great to have you in the live chat. I've been lucky enough to be on this show since the first day of it. So I'm so excited to finally be getting to the end run. I think in a lot of ways, this is the first show on this channel that we've actually been talking about from the very beginning that we'll talk to the complete end. You know, like every season talking at least about a chunk of the episodes. I know last season was a little sparse with my move and life changes and shit like that, but the pretty much every other episode we've talked about Better Call Saul here. So I'm so excited and so invested, more so than I have been on almost any show we've ever talked about here on this channel, in the way this series ends. And I'm excited to be able to share this all with you guys. And I know Joe as well will be joining us here and there throughout the season. Maybe we'll have a few other guests dip in here and there, some of the friends of the show, when they catch up on the series as well. And I know we have a special guest coming later, and I think I'll be joining them on their channel as well in between the seasons. One of the live motherfucking chatters that has an amazing Better Call Saul Breaking Bad channel. And we will be talking about that later when we get together, and we're going to do a couple crossovers in Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad discussions. I cannot wait to talk to another creator of this stuff and discusser of this stuff and break it down. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so I almost was going to be like, no way his phone works after all the oil base, but of course, I'm excited too, brother. Keep up the great work. I can't believe we had to wait 2 years before we can enjoy another Phil live chat. I can't believe you guys waited 2 years and are still actually here waiting to talk to me and waiting to share the fun with me. So that's why I appreciate it more than ever. I know, honestly, since 2019, it's been a little fragmented up and down here. And so I appreciate so much you guys, those of you that have stuck with us here since the last time we've talked about Better Call Saul, which was early 2020. I do. I was, honestly, I almost went out and got some nachos I just didn't have time between the end of the episode. Mike is a sweetie. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. And I am still shocked too. I am completely ridiculed, devastated. Wait, I got oh no, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, my friend. He is gone. I'm sorry to actually tell you. Oh, and Eric Forrest, rest in peace to Nacho. We've got some tweets. We've got some amazing tweets from Eric and from Iron Throne. Thank you guys. And let me go over there. So I'm checking out some stuff. I want to properly check it. The Vivid Kiwi. Make sure you check it out. YouTube. The Vivid Kiwi, who is in our live chat all the time. Another Better Call Saul content creator, killing it over there. And we're going to be doing a couple crossover things either in between the two seasons, or we'll find some time to do it. But I wanted to give a shout out now to say, anyone checking out my stuff, see one of your own live motherfucking chatters out there making amazing content right now, getting crazy views, amazing content at talking about some Better Call Saul. So lots of love to the Vivid Kiwi, and I can't wait to talk to you, and thank you for wanting to help spread the word and get more eyes over here. That means more than I can say. That it's gonna be fun getting to talk about this stuff with you, my friend. Okay, let's continue in there. I am so shocked. So maybe give Nacho the razor. Absolutely. I don't know. Remember how much more indestructible those flip phones were? It's true. They used to make things to last a little bit more. It's like I had a Nintendo cartridge that I threw in a pool. Like, I was so frustrated playing the original Legend of Zelda at one point. I threw it out my window in the middle of the winter or in the middle of the fall into my above ground pool, and it splashed in there. And then it froze all winter, and then I fished it out when I was cleaning the pool the next year, dried it out, and it still worked. I swear to fucking Christ, it fucking worked. Okay, so often taking a shower with a hose, but someone inside sees them, and you think it's going to go bad, but it doesn't. Dude doesn't have an issue. He just says, could you wash a little bit? And gives him a little rag and says, come on, I can wash you down. JP Reddy says, I'm calling out of work tomorrow. Dude, there's a death in the family. Rest in peace, Nacho. I know you're not the only one, JP. It's it's one of those emotional television things. The way they built up your emotions in the scene with him screaming at Hector like that, and the way this whole episode sort of brought Lamb to the slaughter, and you had to watch it in this like depressing way, but still doing it in an outrageously entertaining way. It does feel like death in the family going on right here, but absolutely. Off to him taking a shower with the hose. Another unique shot of him sitting there with the tire on the wall halfway up. Just a great shot to show the uneasiness of Nacho and what everything he's dealing with in his life right now to get to a point where he's going to be accepting of his fate. I mean, I think that's a lot of the beginning half of this episode is to show us how uneasy his existence would be if he has to keep doing this. Excuse me. And it's going to be hard, and it's not work. And he ultimately realizes as long as his family is okay, it's not worth it to him to keep trying to live. You know, if that's the case, it's going to be always having to look over your shoulder. Not everyone can live like Michael Scofield. It's hard. You know, some people can thrive in that kind of dynamic, but not a lot of people are going to. So I do think there is some element of that. Well, Nacho's back in Canada, safe and sound. I finally just barely calmed down from much. It's perfect timing, the Vivid Kiwi. I was literally, I don't know if your ears were ringing. I was just shouting out your channel, saying how amazing you're doing, and appreciate you wanting to help spread the word for us over here and do a crossover type stuff, and telling everyone in the live chat, make sure you subscribe to the Vivid Kiwi. So now you even see the Vivid Kiwi in the chat, so you can just click on the name. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe over there to the Vivid Kiwi for some of the best Better Call Saul coverage around. Breakdowns, deep dives, and such. So make sure you check out some really awesome stuff over there. I'm still in denial too. I'm losing my shit, and I'm afraid. So, okay, so another unique shot of him sitting with the tire halfway up the wall. Very awesome shot. Let me see if I can get that shot up here on the thing, because I just like it. And I think it's to symbolize where his time is going to be. Like the rest of his existence in this world is going to be living in this like halfway sort of existence. And like all the shots that they make of him at this point, once he's in the mechanic's office, is all these like off angle shots. Let's see if I can show it. Like this shot right here. It's just, they angle him in a bunch of shots coming up where you only see his head, or it's like you see everything else in the scene. And he's just to kind of show you this, give you this uneasiness about his existence. And it's, again, setting you up and getting you ready, bringing you like a lamb to the slaughter for the end of this episode. And again, it makes you, I said this earlier and I'll say it again. Vince and Peter are so damn good. They called their shot. They told us what was going to happen the minute Nacho and Gus met in the episode. They said, yeah, this is it. I'm going to die. And all of us, because they're so good at building shit up, we were all like, no. And so in denial about Nacho and how this was going to handle. And then they built it up to give you this explosive end with it in this Tyrion Lannister-like speech at the end when he rips him apart and goes all Jesse fucking Pinkman and goes out in one of the greatest go-out television speeches of all time. And it's just amazing. The intro, the blue gave you shivers. The way they took their time in that shot, Kiwi, like the way they just like, they broke it down. It was amazing the way. And to answer your question, I just got your message from earlier. Yes, I am very goddamn excited. I cannot wait. Chase, I'm very fucking excited for this episode, and I'm still excited an hour and 6 minutes after watching it. Mary says Kim is the one who's bringing Saul to the slaughter. I agree with that. And I think there is an element of that. And I think you're seeing so much of that. We're going to get into Kim and Jimmy in a second here as we finally get into them 25 minutes into the episode. And there's so little of them. You almost did have to have them in the episode at all. But it was great what we did see of them, and more of the breaking Kimmy and slipping Kimmy stuff where she's the one controlling the action. She's building Saul. She's making the plan. She's She's serving his Chuck role, being that person he's looking to for acceptance and understanding and all of that. And he's still not his own creature. And maybe he never is. Maybe he's always someone that needs someone driving that car of Slip and Jimmy and pointing him in the right direction, or pointing him to be a better man, or putting him to do something. And the more we see Kim, the more we see Kim programming. The only thing I have to say about Jimmy Saul is don't forget that in the timeline of the show, this isn't too far after he was stuck in the desert, and he's still dealing with some of the emotional reaction for that whole situation. So he's still not 100% there and back. But I do think he is being controlled a little bit or built by Kim. And that makes Kim an even more amazing character, and makes Jimmy even more of a multi-layered character, as it continuously does. And as someone said in the chat, I wasn't that invested in Saul and Breaking Bad. You weren't supposed to. And that's what makes this show so incredibly awesome. It's not even like the Frasier comparison that you could make sometimes. Okay, some people didn't care about Frasier and Cheers, but then you watch Frasier and this is even different. They did more character development of Frasier on Cheers. And I know a different kind of show, but they did more. Frasier had full episodes that were about him on Cheers. You went to his house. You dealt with his wife. He had a kid. Like, you got into Frasier. He was marrying one of the main actresses on the show with him and Diane's romance. Like, you got into it with him. He became a main character. Saul in Breaking Bad was still always a two-dimensional character for the most part. Maybe a little bit towards the end, he got a little bit more three-dimensional, but for the most part, he was a two-dimensional character on that show. You purposely didn't know too much about him. And that's what makes Better Call Saul one of the greatest marvels in television history, that it does this. Took a character that we're not going to theoretically don't care about on Breaking Bad, and we're not supposed to care about, which would just be a comic relief character, and makes him one of the most dynamic, entertaining, interesting, dark, multifaceted characters in television history. That's equal to the fucking Parent show's main character of fucking Walter White. Just in different ways. And not just that he's created multiple characters like that on this show with Kim and Chuck and Nacho. And Lalo, probably one of the most charismatic, entertaining villains, and definitely at least number 2 or 3, if you want to just say Gus all the way, like in the top 2 or 3 created villains in this universe, where I think Lalo's a better antagonist and interesting villain than the twins. I think the twins are fun, than Tuco. Tuco's fun too, but I think and Hector too. Like, I think I put Lalo number 2 behind Gus as my favorite sort of antagonist of sorts on the show. And I say that with this because Walter's the antagonist of the whole thing. Fuck Walter. We're not living in a world here where we have true heroes and villains, but you know what I mean when I say antagonists on these shows. Bad guys, cartel bad guys, or whatever. I would go like Gus and Lalo, 1 and 1A. They're both extremely interesting to me. So this show has done an exceptional job as creating these new characters in this universe, in this timeline too. And it's just like nothing I've ever seen before. I'm somebody that cares a lot about television history, and I look back at a lot of this stuff. And what this show is truly accomplishing, a show that's able to do this in a dramatic, interesting, multi-layered way. Sitcoms do this in satisfying ways. And even that, they don't really do prequels. This not only is beating the percentages in spin-offs, it's beating the percentages in prequels. Prequels don't always go well. Usually don't. They have problems. There's too much stuff, like too much of the drama is taken away. This is a show we're watching right now that is a prequel to Breaking Bad, and it filled me with just as much drama and rage and frustration as I got in the Parent show tonight. I felt like I was watching Ozymandias tonight. I said it earlier. This is Better Call Saul, Ozymandias. Like, I felt like I was watching that show. They were able to do this with a prequel. I know Saul doesn't rat. I'm still at the edge of my seat wondering what they might do to make sure of that. Because the show has set up all of these parallels. What kind of everything I know that's going to happen, I don't care. I knew Nacho was going to die at the beginning of this episode, deep inside my soul, and it still surprised the living shit out of me. Because this show is that good. Vivid says this episode topped Ozymandias. Definitely it's equal. You know, like we will definitely have that conversation when we talk, because it's fucking close. Right now, I agree with you. In this moment, I'm hyper-verbally like a motherfucker right now. I don't care. I'm riding that train. I'm high on Coca-Cola. I don't care. To me, that's the best episode of television I've seen in 3 or 4 years. Hands down. Hands goddamn down. Not even close. And I came out here calling it Better Call Saul, Ozymandias. And I will say, I'm going to hold judgment on that for now. But this is as equal to this series as that was to Breaking Bad. And excelled, and maybe a more well put together package of an episode in some ways. Because, and this isn't Breaking Bad. I'm not using this as an opportunity to pee on Breaking Bad. The one criticism I can lobby on the final season of Breaking Bad is that I wish they introduced Jack's crew earlier on. It seemed like they showed up at the last minute just to serve as, you know, an antagonist for the situation. So the buildup of having Jack's crew be the one that killed Hank and fucked over Walter wasn't as big as, say, this was, because this is a whole 5.5 seasons of buildup for this. Excuse me. With a bunch of characters that we do care about and we've gotten to know. Whereas Jack's crew, as effective as they were in what they needed to do on Breaking Bad, they came out of nowhere a little bit. And it was hard to get feelings about them at all. They were more of a force of nature. So I can see what you're saying. Maybe that's not exactly what you're saying, but to argue a point from my perspective would be that the reason why this episode would be better is that we care about everyone, everything that's going on. They've set us in a situation where we have multiple characters and multiple angles of people on all sides of it that we actually care about. Whereas in Ozymandias, we cared about Walter and Hank, but Jack's crew were just sort of almost cartoon villainy. And recency bias, but holy crap. Why did Nacho kill himself? I think because Nacho, through the beginning half of this episode, we get the feeling that Nacho sees what his life would have to be if he'd have to run for the rest of his life. And then from connecting with his father, when he gets a chance to talk to him, he realizes that the only thing in that moment is important to him is making sure that his father doesn't get hurt. So that he's willing to give up his life, that if he keeps running, eventually they will go to his father. They will go to his family. They will find other people and other things that he cares about to get him. So when he's in that moment, he realizes that on both sides of it, no one wants him alive. Gus's people are trying to kill him. They're the ones that tipped off where he was because he thought they were helping him out in the last episode with giving him advice on the phone, like they were tipping him off to where he was. So he realized that Gus and Mike can't really help him because it's in Gus's best interest for him to die. He knows if the Salamanca'S get him, he's going to be tortured and forced to, tell him what he knows, get Jack Bauer and tell him what he knows. He knows he's in a shit situation, that his only out is running forever and dealing with his father and the rest of his family being killed or threatened. So he realizes the only way to save his family, the only way to truly be done with this and not have to run for the rest of his goddamn life from these people and have nowhere to really go from these cartel people. They're like, where could he really run in this moment? He doesn't have any money, he doesn't have any friends, doesn't have anyone to turn to right now. The only thing he can control is saving his family. So by picking that, he at least is choosing his own outcome. He's putting himself in a position where he trusts Mike enough to know that if Mike gives him his word that his father won't be touched, if he gives himself up and goes with Gus's plan, then he at least can die knowing that his family is safe. At least that's how I took everything. That's how I would explain what Nacho's decision-making process was through this episode and why he turned himself in and gave himself up because he just didn't want to go through that. And yeah, Chris Small says it in a far more succinct way than I did. He just says, spare his family. Yeah, I mean, in fairness, Chris, it's my job to flower things up for 20 minutes, but you said that more succinctly than any human could. That's basically what I should say. I watch on the AMC Plus app. I got it for a free week. and now I'm paying the $8.99 a month for a couple months, and I can either watch it live on AMC or it gets added right afterwards as to stream without commercials. So that's how I'm purchasing it right now. I thought about doing Filio or one of the other, or Sling TV or something like this, but this was the cheapest option, the $8.99 a month for AMC Plus, and doing it for the few months. Plus, when The Walking Disaster comes back, I can watch the episodes early run, so I'm just going to keep AMC Plus till the end of Better Call Saul. I feel like I just need a shower after what I saw. It's so true. Like, I didn't even want to drink tonight. Like, I legitimately didn't, but I picked the wrong week to stop drinking. Rest in peace, Nacho. So let's get back to our recap. Nacho calls his daddy. They talk. His daddy is unaware of everything. It's kind of a tough conversation where Nacho, and again, so well performed by Mark Mondo, just incredibly subtle and multi-layered, fractional kind of performance where he just breaks down and laughs. It's just so believable, as him and his dad don't have anything to really say to each other. He's just checking in to make sure he's safe. And you can see a switch in his mind in the end of the scene when he switches from having this fear, realizing the only way out of this situation, the only way out of my father is acceptance of this. It's like the all the stages of loss here. He finally just accepts that he has one way out of this. And after he calls his father, he makes another call, and let's listen to this. Let me take a few second break as he makes his second call. So yeah, he sits there, and again, the performance, the look on his face is as he makes this decision in this scene. And wait, let me before I do this. This is let me do this. Because this is the scene that I'm talking about. This is him. He just talked to his dad. This is him making the decision. What a performance here. Like, give this guy the awards. Give him all of them. Like, give this guy a show that he can run, that he can be the star of, because he has so much range. He can play funny. He can play scary. He can play emotional, as you see right here. Like, and as he makes this decision to give himself up, let's listen to this. Yes, what Julianne said in the live chat, you can stream it right away without ads. It's almost like the way HBO Go or Now used to do things. I don't know if they still do it, where basically at 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's available to stream the whole episode, so you can watch it without commercials. That's how, if you be careful in subreddits or Facebook groups or Twitter or whatever, where you're following, if you're live watching the show, because some people on the AMC app can binge watch it and can be done in 45 minutes flat, and then get in the comment section and be commenting about what happened at the end of the episode. I saw that a little bit tonight. I missed it. I missed being spoiled, but I saw some people like deleting and flagging comments and like downvoting on Reddit. So I'm like, okay, I'm staying fucking away from that. So be careful when you're out there this season, because this show is so good at setting up mysteries. I don't want any of this spoiled for anybody. So make sure you're being careful with your watching, as people can watch this. Like Julianne said in the live chat, you can immediately watch it without commercials, like 9:01 Eastern Standard. So they can finish it before it's finished on the AMC network, and then in the AMC app, you can also stream it to watch it with commercials and all that stuff too. So just be careful. Just be careful out there with spoilers. John Haymaker, Nacho, no. I love that. Thank you for mentioning that, Foodiance. That was really awesome of Nacho to do that. I agree. He left the money. Leave the money to Bowski. He left the money for the mechanic for being so cool with him, and I generally like that mechanic that helped him out. It's a really great moment and a great scene that I thought again might have gone in a different direction, but Nacho's just such a nice guy, which makes it such a hard fucking sell here.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah.
And we come.
You knew that I was going to Mexico to die, that I was never supposed to make.
And we come back in right in where we left Mike off in the last episode.
Not my call.
happens now?
That's up to you.
Is that bastard with you? Put him on.
He wants to talk to you.
I was waiting for this. Sorry, I know. Like I said, Bobby, I'm a hyperbole. Like I was saying, I was just going down the road with Kiwi. I don't think it does either. I think Ozymandias is still the number one episode in this universe for me. This is what I meant in the sense, from my perspective, is this is Better Call Saul's version of it, and we're only on episode 3 of the final season, so it might not even be. And this episode reminded me of it at times. Like I had that same sort of remnant feeling, but Ozymandias is still the most exciting hour of television I think I've ever watched in my life. Like I was never on the edge of my seat as much as I was in that particular episode. That was the first time, not the first time, but one of the biggest times you realize that Vince and Peter have no fucking chill, and they will not hesitate to fucking shove this television world up your ass. So, Bobby G, I was being a little hyperbolic in the moment and kind of going down the road with how I could describe it being like a more complete episode, but I agree. I think the high that you built up in that moment was higher for me as well, and bigger stakes in the sense. So, but to be a victim of the moment right now, and hyperbole, right now, this is the greatest episode I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? Like right now, right in this moment, right now. That's why I said ask me in a week. Let me watch both episodes. Let me watch Breaking Bad again and binge it again and be fresher in my mind and in my emotion. Right now, the thing I just watched tonight is the greatest thing of all time. Which I know isn't the truth, but you know. That's where I'm at with it. But you're right. I'm with you. And I know you're not. That honestly, I appreciate it. I appreciate the back and forth of the live chat. This is not a fucking echo chamber. And part of the discussion is the fun. I want to hear all you guys' thoughts in the live motherfucking chat. If you're that one person sitting in the chat right now going, I was boring, I don't like this episode, say it. We want to hear it. You know, like we want to hear it all here in the Issues program. Leave your voicemail, leave your text, call on in, share your thoughts. Tell me I'm a horse's ass. I love it. Tell me, come on, Phil. Take a breather. Take a breather. Ozymandias, come on. Maybe blowout.
You are screwed. You want the cartel to blame me for Lalo? But if they catch me, make me talk. That is not good for you.
Very fair, Bobby G. I just wasn't a big fan of this episode. I'm actually more interested in the Kim and Jimmy storyline, where most people online have talked to are more invested in the Nacho storyline. Very fair that this episode, if you're way interested in the Kim and Jimmy storyline, it didn't necessarily give you exactly what you wanted. But I think you'll get what you want for the rest of the season. That's why they wanted to handle business in this tonight, to make it so basically the rest of the season is going to be Kim and Jimmy and how that's all affecting. You know, that's the main story. Yeah, we're still going to get Lalo, but I think that's going to combine with the two storylines. They're going to be connected together. I think tonight's episode was done this early and this much Nacho to give Mark Mondo his swan song episode that they've always wanted to give him more to do. So they gave him a whole episode here in his final way out. But I can absolutely see that. And I saw a couple of litters of comments like that on subreddit and other places that people were saying, you know, we like this episode, but we could have used a little bit more Jimmy. So I absolutely understand that, and the people that are, like you said, more invested in that other storyline, I say I'm probably equally invested in all of them. And I've been wanting to complete this Nacho storyline for a while, so it was good for me to get this out. But I definitely hear that. Exactly, Bobby. I think some people don't necessarily always understand that. Bobby, I don't think everyone understands that reasonable discussion is a thing in this world. But I appreciate it more than you know, my friend.
Is it? Even if I disappear, everyone's going to smell your stink all over it. The only way that this works for you is with me dead. All right. Whatever bullshit way you want the story to go, I will make it go. But I need one thing.
Yes.
My dad. I need to know that he'll be safe.
If you are true to your word, there will be no reason for anyone to harm your father.
You are not the one that I need to hear it from.
Because I don't trust your chicken making ass.
Your dad's gonna be okay.
How do you know?
Because anyone who goes after him is gonna have to come through me.
Nabil says, Nabil, great to see you in the live chat. Great to see so many new faces and names. And to see people after watching the episode probably coming live on YouTube wanting to talk about it with somebody. So I appreciate everyone joining us tonight in the live chat. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please join us all season after every episode of Better Call Saul. Says, I think what hurts more is not that Nacho died, but they killed him so early in the season. And in a shocking way. It really did hurt. Like in a way that you weren't, like I said, they made it obvious at times he was going to die that you didn't think it was actually going to happen. We got Muhammad in the live chat. Toast to you, my friend Muhammad. Great to see you, buddy. As always, thank you for the amazing support, my friend. Mertzi says, Nacho should have shot the Salamanca and Gus while using Bolsa as a human shield. That'd ensure your father's safety the most and go out killing or wounding them all. I almost thought it was going to go in a direction like that. Like Mike had some sort of plan. And like in that moment, if I didn't know that all the Salamanca'S survive, I would say, why doesn't Gus just try to make an end move right there and just kill everybody? Yeah, I love proper discussion. Seems everyone wants to argue. Exactly. And right now, like, I just want to throw as much shit at the wall and bang about it and talk about it and love it. This week we have a secondary show, just to say anyone that's into it. I think I will probably be live on Friday or Saturday, depending on how quickly I can fucking watch them all. But I'm going to be watching the final 6 episodes of, is it 6? The final episodes of Ozark that come out this week and doing an immediate live reaction once I'm done with them as well. So if anyone is into Ozark, please subscribe and check the channel out. I'll try to create the event pretty soon, but I'll be going live somewhere on Saturday, probably, I'm guessing. Excuse me, sorry. Somewhere on Saturday, possibly Friday, depending on when I get a chance to binge watch the episodes. Very much looking forward to how they end the storyline for the birds. Okay, so have you seen the American Greed little video? The Kim tease is interesting. No, is that the video that got added to AMC Plus? That is like a little promo video thing that they did. I haven't watched it yet. I noticed it this evening when I was getting ready to watch the episode. So Nabil, I have not checked it out quite yet. Definitely, please leave some information in the live chat about that. I don't mind you spoiling a video like that because I'm probably not going to get a chance to watch it before the end of the show. But I am going to watch it. So, and that's not episode stuff. So you can feel free to share what happens in that video in the chat. Ben, what do I think the big cliffhanger at the end of the first half of the season is going to be? You know, I would have thought it would be Nacho's fate, but I guess not. Oh my goodness. What do I think the big cliffhanger at the end of the season is going to be? I don't think it's going to be Howard stuff. I think the Howard stuff is going to be handled. I don't think it's going to be Lalo's. Something to do with Lalo maybe, but maybe not even. I don't know. This episode has me all kinds of on tilt. Let me wait till the end of the episode to give you those feelings. But what I do think it's going to be is because how much worse can Kim get? How much worse can Saul get in a sense of a situation? I think the cliffhanger of this end part is more going to be Saul Goodman is up and running. Like they they rent the office and get everything set up and Francesca walks in and we're set up going into the final part of the season that Saul Goodman machine is up and running. So I don't think it will be a traditional cliffhanger in that sense, more cliffhanger in the way of what is next for this. How are they going to finish off this story? But I could be wrong. It's painful to have to wait a week for each episode because it got to binge Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Yes, it is really cool. Yeah, it is just painful. It's painful, especially when you're used to binge watching series in recent times. It feels this is the last series I truly care about that I'm watching week to week. And it fucking sucks. But I do like breaking apart each episode more deep than I do with streaming series. Getting into each episode the way we're doing it, explaining it, breaking it apart. Listening to everyone in the chats, different thoughts about the different particular episodes as we bounce from episode to episode. But it's fucking torture. It is. I mean, no shit. It's torture. Vivid Kiwi says, Chase says, I'm so surprised that Nacho's fate was handled quickly. Can't wait to watch all 3 episodes back to back. Feels like a full movie. Very excellently put, Vivid Kiwi. It does feel like now thinking of those first 3 episodes was a little Nacho movie with some Jimmy sprinkled in. But I mean, you had the 2 storylines, but the Nacho was the star of these first 3 episodes. And people that have, and I mentioned it a lot, you listen to the Better Call Saul Insiders podcast in previous seasons when they've had Mark Mondo in there during Nacho episodes. Vince and Peter always say, we always want to do more with you, but something comes up. We have to do this with Michael McKean. We have to do this with Kim. We have to do this. That. They've been waiting for an opportunity to do more with him and his character. And they give you his swan song, which you're right, is like a 3-episode arc. And even more if you look to the end of last season, like the end of season 5 into this was a very good, long, thick, a really excellently done Nacho arc. The cinematography this season has been elite. I'm almost hurting my throat mentioning how many amazing cinematic moments. See, I can't even talk. But how many amazing cinematic moments that we get. How many interesting, warped, altered perspective shots we get. And they do it so effortlessly that it doesn't come off as snooty, fart-smelling attempts of adding depth to something that doesn't exist. They do it in this natural way, like you're peeking in the scene in an interesting way. There's only light of Mondo's eyes looking out a window. The way that they film desert open air is like fucking Coen brother level awesome. And that's on the cinematography, on the director of photography, but it's also on Peter and Vince for directing the ship. Excuse me. And on the directors for what they choose for shots, and the editors for how they put everything together and color correct everything, because the way the lighting in this show works and the color palette changes and the way something can go from multiple vector points almost on a scene. So like say you see a whole desert landscape and the way they did, like with what they did tonight with the flower, for example, it's like the vector of the desert and everything. And then they focus in on that one section with the flower and they enhance the blue. So it looks even brighter than it seems. So it looks like you're looking at everything in this one color tone. And then they shift to that flower and it totally changes and creates this emotional resonance in you from watching without even fucking realizing it. And on top of all of this hoity-toity film school bullshit I'm talking, that I think this show should be studied in film classes, Breaking Bad too, but especially fucking Better Call Saul, and because the team is just at a next level talent, it also is just a fun, entertaining show. And that's what's awesome. It's like, a cool rock band that makes these amazing, incredibly, like Zeppelin was cool, and they also wrote amazing, long, impressive tunes and shit. It's not just that they, are a pop band that can just make things entertaining, or make something complex, like, Joe Satriani or some shit, where you're like, it's so multi-layered and complex that I'm not entertained by it. But I'm entertained by a guy stretching one note, like David Gilmour holding one note over and over again, because it's able to wave that line. I know, what am I talking about, lead guitar players? But I feel like music and art in some way, in visual art, is similar in the way that it's achieved emotionally. And what this show does visually, and music for that matter, but really visually, like even as much as the music is a part of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and it sets the standard, and it really does, this show is birthed and driven by its cinematography and by its like sound design and its editing and such. And the music fits the visual, not the visual fits the music. But it is incredible. And they're able to simultaneously, at the same time, I was like being redundant there, simultaneously at the same time, they're able to be hoity-toity motherfuckers while still being cool. Vince and Peter are those cool guys that are still, we might be doing the substructure Dutch angle on the true fit with the beamer, but we're having a good old time doing it. Like that's the type of guys that they are. It's just like they don't give a fuck. They're just going out there. They're like Ween. They're like fucking Ween. They're just like, yeah, man, we're fucking awesome. We're the best band ever. Let's fucking rock. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm on a music kick tonight. Gordon Smith wrote and directed this episode. Are you not entertained? I will say the cold open immediately reminded me of the kid finding the grill in the tarantula. I should have seen that ending coming. And Vivid Kiwi says Gordon Smith wrote and directed this episode. I hope Gordon Smith will be on the Insiders podcast of this episode. I love the Insiders podcast. I mentioned it almost every episode of this podcast I've ever done. If you want to listen to one Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul podcast, don't listen to me. Listen to them. They're better in every way. So check that out, please. The cinematography of Nacho looking down and seeing his reflection in the glass at Gus's trailer that night before Jon Snow's blue flower confirmed. Oh, we got the best chat in the world. We really do. Okay, so Nacho talks to his daddy. We already talked about this. Nacho leaves, and it's a messy situation for this one. So Nacho leaves. Finally, we get to see some Jimmy, and he's using sticky notes like Kim. Oh no, wait, I gotta fast. Oh, this is where the guy gets some money. So finally, we get into Jimmy. He's using sticky notes like Kim, setting up a plan. As Kim comes in, they go over the plan as timetables. As she's really building him up, she's talking about Howard's car thing. They're gonna steal. Basically, this is all a plan and a scheme. As we get a Huel cameo in this episode, where they need to get the keys and the key and the unlocking stuff, the access to Howard's car.
Everything has to go off by the 18th.
So let's listen to a little of this.
Right? Before that, just for the driving work, we're saying we want the right year and model, mint condition, no less, and then get it painted. Plus, we want to get the custom plates.
Not enough time.
That's what I'm wondering.
Okay.
Here you go.
Now, I got to admit, I was so distracted by the Nacho stuff, I didn't pay as much attention to the Kim and Jimmy stuff. But ultimately, I think most of this just results into what I was saying, Kim training Jimmy more and kind of being more of a part of the building of the Saul Goodman character than we even would initially think. Then we have the other side of them setting it up so they can steal Howard's keys to be able to fuck with his car later in a future episode, and how that storyline is going to pan out. And then Kim talking to the DA and the DA telling her that they know who Lalo was. I don't know if partially from what Jimmy slipped up last week or what, but they know who Lalo is, and they want Jimmy to inform for them because they feel like they're going to say that he didn't know who he was, and so they can break attorney-client privilege and have Jimmy be a rat for them.
What if we use the real car? I mean, like his real car.
His car. That's a bit direct.
I think the word you're looking for is audacious.
The back and forth between these two are amazing. And I love the scan storyboard, Julianne says. John even because I use sticky notes a lot. I love the Huel in this episode. I loved Huel in this episode too. I love how one of the few people, because the actors lost so much weight and it looks great, it makes sense that this was him younger. He looks younger. So it's great. And like, I like that they gave him more to do. They're right on him with his lines and the way he presses Jimmy on those questions later. We'll get to that. I love that they gave him more to do than just basic cameos. And that's the thing. The people that are afraid of the Walt and Jesse cameo, that if it happens, people that are like, I don't know about the Walt and Jesse cameo. Vince and Peter would not do it if they're not going to do it well. I will be surprised if it would. I would say it will be in the absolute minority of the universes of this show and what this show has done in association to its parent program to have it be bad. And also, anyone that's like, oh yeah, I don't want to see this show do those things. This is the show that had fucking Tuco in the first episode. Like, immediately they brought back Breaking Bad people for cameos. This has been a pedigree of what this show is. They've done it all along since the beginning. They bring in Breaking Bad cameo characters. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it makes more sense than other times. But it happens. You know, they made the Hank cameo made sense when it happened. Like, they're not doing it just to do it, but they are doing it just to do it, but they're going to find a creative, interesting way to make it happen. They're not going to Star Trek The Next Generation movie this one where it's like, oh, Worf's on vacation from Deep Space Nine, so he's here on the ship. They're not doing some stupid shit like that to just get Worf on a cameo. Let's stop at the Riker's house and make a pizza. No, we're not doing that stupid shit. They're actually making sense for the cameos, and I love the Huel one in this episode too. Okay, so we go off to Kim in talking to. Oh yeah, I want to play this scene because it's one of those scenes that's going to be easier to watch rather than talk.
Okay. And who is Eduardo Salamanca?
A major drug trafficker. We got this photo from Federales in Chihuahua. Seems Salamanca jumped the $7 million he posted in bail and fled to Mexico.
Wow. That's news to me. How did this come to light?
He died in a massive firefight.
Dude, if one thing has taught me about this series, Marco, is that Victor is as cold as fucking ice, dude. Victor is, I did catch that smile. Oh, dude, good pickup, Marco. It was a fucking smirk. It was one of those, like you just shot your jumper in somebody's face and you give them a little smirk, like, yeah, you think you can cover me. It was one of those smirks. It was bad. It was like, oh my God, you enjoy this life way too fucking much, dude.
His compound. Over a half dozen people were killed.
Cold-blooded.
That's terrible. But where are you going with this?
Bear with me. Let me explain how this looks from where I stand. A couple of years back, Jimmy McGill represented Ignacio Varga, a local dealer. Now, Varga is a known associate of Tuco Salamanca. Jimmy was involved in getting Tuco a reduced sentence on an assault and battery charge shortly after he represented Varga. And now, here he is, representing Eduardo Salamanca under the assumed name de Guzman.
Listen, Mantrell, you got to represent the squat cobbler, buddy. I mean, that looks like a delicious green squat cobbler, my buddy.
Okay. What are you getting at? Are you building some kind of case against Jimmy?
No. No one is, at the moment.
At the moment.
At the moment.
Khalil thinks Jimmy knew who De Guzman was.
See, what I really like about this scene is I like how Kim Wexler, not the actress, not who fucking amazing, awards given to her, but the way Kim plays this scene. Kim plays this poker face scared, and like she's in, and the way that the actress plays it is plays it to the chest. So we don't know how she's really feeling, and we don't know if she's really shitting her pants right now on what this, and the pressure and that the cops, the DA is giving her. Like, but no, what Kim's really thinking right here is, shut the fuck up, bitch. You want my man to rat? Fuck that. Fuck you. Fuck you. Bullshit. Fuck you. Bullshit. Bullshit. Like, that's really what she's thinking. In this moment, she's not scared. She's like, you're giving me way too much information. Thank you. Is Jimmy going to be arrested or not? Then shut the fuck up. And then, but she's saying what she needs to say in the sense of, oh my goodness. Oh, wow. Like you can see her facilitating emotion because it's not really there. Like having to pretend to care. We've all been there in different situations, but Kim's doing it with like murder. She's like, oh, it's 10 people dead. Yeah. Oh my God. Like at first you can see the look on her face. Like she just doesn't care. And she's like, oh wait, I got to act like I care. Oh my God. And so she plays shocked. At least this is how I'm reading it from what we hear her say later. This is only like watching it in the moment. I'm like, oh my shit. And even when she's going to talk to Jimmy at the end of the episode, I'm thinking she's going to say, oh, we've gone too far here a little bit, and Jimmy has to like rope her back in and we get a little flip around. But no. We got breaking Kimmy here where Kim is like, all Kim's thinking when she says to Jimmy, and we'll get to the scene at the end, but I think it's amazing the way she strong arms him. She talks to him like she's an enforcer in the mafia. Jimmy's like, I don't know what to do because Jimmy, as I said, is like needs a secondary person to point him in a direction, at least the Jimmy that we've seen on Better Call Saul. He needs and wants that advisor. And Kim is that person for him. So he's looking to her for advice. And he turns to her and he says, excuse me, what should I do? What should I do in this moment when she tells him everything? Because she tells him in a raw way to again, in a very mafia enforcer kind of way, explains it to him what's going on, does not elicit how she feels about it. And we're going to play it later, but does not elicit how she feels about it and waits to see what Jimmy's reaction is. Jimmy's reaction is to go to Kim, what should I do? And she's like, no, what do you think you should do, Jimmy? This is your decision you should make. And she goes back to him like, oh, well, I want da. And then he says, just tell me what to do. Or what do you think I should do? And finally, she gives an answer. She's like, I don't know what you should do. But Jimmy, you got to decide, do you want to be a friend of the cartel? Or do you want to be a rat? She might as well have said fucking rat. She didn't say informant. She didn't say, do you want to be a friend of the cartel or a friend of the police? She said, do you want to be a friend of the cartel or do you want to be a fucking rat? Basically saying to him, fuck you if you're even thinking about ratting. That's what I'm taking from that. Like, your immediate reaction is like, fuck these people. You're actually considering this? She's disappointed in Jimmy. She might leave Jimmy because Jimmy isn't badass enough for her. He gave her one cigarette and now she's smoking 5 packs. And she's doing smoke rings. And she's like, she's entering Vegas competition for smoking competitions. I don't know, my thing's losing water right now. But you know what I'm saying? Like she's down the road. She's out of control. She's beyond what Jimmy wants to do. And she's going to get him involved with Walter White. Like the more I'm thinking this, like, is that Jimmy's going to be on the fence of working with Walter a couple of times and Kim's going to go, but look at the money we're making. This Walter guy's easy money. Fucking A. Kim's as cold as fuck. She really is. Emerald, good to see Emerald breaking Kim. What if the cliffhanger is Gene cliffhanger? We haven't seen him yet. Nabil, that is an excellent point. Not something I even thought about yet. I sort of accepted that we weren't going to see black and white Cinnabon Saul, Gene in this season, but that you very much could be correct that we go back at the very end of this season to a Gene scene and then we get sort of Gene at the end, Gene at the beginning before we go back into the season. I would like that a lot. Great to see Emerald in the live chat. I wanted more screen time with Nacho. I feel like he could have been fleshed out a bit more. It's just mostly due to the fact that I see him as the Jesse in Better Call Saul, and Jesse, in my opinion, was such a deep character. I think they really wanted to do more with Nacho as time went on. I've heard them say that many times in the Insiders podcast, just because maybe sometimes it was timing and job conflicts. Sometimes it was other characters' importance coming through. But I do feel like I would have loved to see more of Nacho too, just because I love the actor's performance and I hope he gets a show where he can be the star of it and gets to do lots. I hope this show works as a great audition reel for him, even in some ways, to get him some amazing work, because this actor can do anything. He proved to me in his limited moments on Better Call Saul. I'm not saying he didn't make a difference. He didn't have good arcs, but of all the main characters, he's one of the least screen time in my memory of really giving him the time to be fleshed out in the way that Kim, Jimmy, Chuck, Mike, and Gus have. I think out of all of that group, if we add Nacho to that group of the main characters of the show, Nacho got the least. Even though he got a really amazing end here and a lot of depth here at the end, he didn't quite get as much digging as some of the other characters have gotten on this show. So I definitely agree with that. I was thinking Kim was thinking she might give her the Howard treatment next time. Michael Mondo for an Emmy. I agree with that. I think he deserves a lot of attention for this performance in these couple of episodes. They should definitely submit this for a Best Supporting. The performance in this episode was one of the best acting performances I've seen in a long, long time. Really fucking well done. If they do more with the dad, they could do a Nacho flashback and get a little bit more of Nacho. I wouldn't mind that, just to get Mondo back on screen a little bit. It's excellently done. Let's see. Ooh, okay. I got some text coming in, so let me figure that out in a second. Off to Kim and talking. I'm not sure where I'm at. Okay, off to some music. They're pissed because let me play the rest of this.
That Jimmy helped Salamanca even after he knew. I'd like to believe he didn't. I don't think Jimmy ever intended to become a cartel lawyer.
Oh, you didn't?
It's not a suit that fits him.
It fits him pretty well.
I think maybe he got in over his head and couldn't get out. And if that's true, if Salamanca duped him, then the lawyer-client privilege was obtained in bad faith.
Bullshit.
To rat on a client? Even if Salamanca's dead, his privilege survives. You know that.
If the privilege was clean. But if he wasn't in on the De Guzman deception, Jimmy could talk to me.
And tell you what, you just said Salamanca is dead.
His accomplices aren't. Salamanca was in deep, and I want to know what his people are doing here in Albuquerque. And Jimmy could help.
Yeah.
I'll make sure anything he tells me won't blow back. And if it turns out that Jimmy's made mistakes, we won't hold him accountable.
100%. I agree, as well as Julianne said, and Fudiance agreed as well. They do so much with little scenes, especially with Kim's scenes. With some of those scenes they did, was in season 4, was in season 5 with her, with the sticky notes and like little montages and little moments. They make a meal out of so much on this show. That's the thing that this show does better than any program I've almost ever seen. It does as well as some theater productions do. It really is able to make a meal out of the littlest of things and make it so captivating and so real and so pulpy at the same time. I love it.
I'm talking to you because I think you'll be more willing to hear what I have to say. Look, we had a monster in custody. We just let him walk right out of jail. We failed. The whole system just failed.
No, just you.
This guy killed a 22-year-old kid. Dead in cold blood. It's wrong. You know it's wrong.
Yeah, but Kim's cold-blooded.
I think
She
Jimmy
doesn't
does
care.
too.
Saul.
Mate, I love how she corrects him right.
Sorry?
Saul. She's like, she doesn't care. She just corrects
He
Saul.
practices now under the name Saul Goodman. Although I distinctly remember you referring to him as a scumbag.
I admit I have had my problems with Saul. That's true. But I also believe underneath it all, underneath all of his showiness, he's a lawyer and a human being. And I think he knows what's right.
And the look Kim gives right there is like, get the fuck out of my boyfriend's head, motherfucker. Don't dead name him. Yeah, exactly, John. And Max in the live chat, great episode. Off topic, but one question. Am I crazy for connecting Kim, the bottle of Zafiro, and Eladio's death? I don't see any parallels there, but you're definitely not crazy. I don't think anything is impossible in this universe. For some reason, when I read your comment during the scene, the thing that flashed in my head is, what the alternate universe situation where Kim leaves Jimmy because he's not badass enough and ends up like connecting with Gus and being one of Gus's soldiers or something, Gus's attorney in the chicken game or something, playing a different sort of situation, and she's instrumental on Gus's plan to take out Don Ilario and everybody else. But that's just what flashed in my head when I read your comment. But I don't think so. But I honestly, I like to say every comment here because nothing is impossible in this universe. Okay, off to some music as Mike's doing some Mike stuff as he finds Nacho hidden, gives him some dinner. He asks when. Mike says tomorrow. This whole situation is like someone being on death row. They're getting their final meal. And again, this is the moment where I'm watching this going, let me pour my drink because I got to get drunk now to talk about this because it's going to be fucking emotional as shit. Because this is the whole scene where I'm watching this and Nacho's playing it, the actor, Mondo's playing it like he's about to die, like dead man walking, like today is a good day to die. You know, like he's playing that kind of vibe, you know, Klingon pride and shit. And they're getting drunk. They're having a good time. They get the call that he's not fucked up enough. So they're going to get drunk and beat the shit out of each other. I'm like, Mike's got a plan here. There's a plan. Nacho's not going. This was the moment in the episode when I was most convinced that Nacho wasn't dying. Up until this point, I'm like, this Nacho's dying. He's dying. This episode's his it. He's getting too much screen time. They're not going to do it. He's either getting away or he's dying in this episode. Nacho's storyline is complete. Like at the beginning of the part of the episode, I was convinced of it. You know, I'm like, we haven't got enough of Jimmy and Kim tonight. This is going to be Nacho's story. We're going to get completion. This point in the episode, when they're having dinner and they're hanging out, and yeah, I know it's the last meal and all of that. Excuse me. I have Peter Brady throat tonight. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na. Too much screaming this week. But it absolutely, at this point in the episode, when Mike and him are getting ready to get into the fight and shit, I'm convincing myself that Nacho's not dying. I'm like, oh, okay, no way. They got a plan. They're going to beat up the body. They're going to make it seem like he's dead. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Like something's going to happen. They got a plan. Mike's got a plan here. I've been back and forth on it. I just find it hard to believe that they would overlook utilizing it. And that's an absolute, it's just like everything has a potential for being something in this universe. They don't waste moments or ounces of screen time in items for any particular reason. And they're aware of their material more than we are. So you're right to pick out any little thing. I want to hear it. It will help us figure this shit out, buddy. Marco, I wonder if Mike will deliver the news to Nacho's dad or leave it indirectly somehow. I think he's going to take care of Nacho's dad. I think before the end of this half a season, we'll see Mike delivering some large sum of money to indirectly or directly to Nacho's dad. I think Nacho's dad's all set and going to live a very happy remainder of his life taken care of. And I could see something like Nacho's dad refusing the money, being like, this is dirty money. And Mike will be like, no, Nacho did something good and blah, blah, blah. And making some stuff up. Mike putting on his ex-cop hat and talking some good stuff. No, Nacho helped take down a cartel and something, and he wanted you to have this money. Blah, 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 blah. You know, this is part of the thanks was me taking care of his family or something. You know, some shit like that. I could see Mike doing some stuff to help take care of his father. They will use the Dragon Ball to wish Nacho back. They will bring, in the next episode, Nacho gets brought to the Lazarus pit and gets brought back, but he does have the rage. So he gets some dinner, they get drunk. So back and we see the Hamlin mobile, and he's being his douchey Hamlin self. And funny enough, I think I mentioned this last week. I saw Hamlin on an episode of 24, and he plays a guy that is like having sex with a bunch of people and spreading a disease, and then running from the cops when they're trying to find it. He plays like a wicked dick on 24. It's really funny, awesome. We see the valet, number 618, for some reason. He runs into Huel, who bumps into him, takes the keys. They need to hurry. The kid is quick, and they're trying to make a copy. They got 45 seconds. It's an exciting, satisfying scene. It's fun. It's great to see Huel again. I'm always
a legit lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm always down to see Huel. And it ends up working out. He gets the key to be able to unlock the car. And him and Huel and him sit down, and they have this really, really amazing scene. It's great to see Saul talk to his guys, because in my memories in Breaking Bad, we don't see as many scenes with him and his guys actually talking. We see the guys and Saul separate. And I really do hope we see a Bill Burr cameo before the end of Better Call Saul. But I'm having my doubts because I've heard Bill Burr say that he's wanted to do it. He's just having schedule conflicts and stuff. And they've offered him a part. So I think he's been invited anytime the timing could work, and he's interested. So if it could happen that we see a Cuddy at some point too, he's like the one member of this crew we haven't seen yet. So I'm curious when and if Cuddy will come in, and I'd love to see him on the show right now. But anyways, it's hasn't happened yet. Mike was the police. His dad wanted him to go to the police. Maybe Mike sets him straight about the police that are dirty. That's very possible too. I could see Mike is going to make effort in this situation. He couldn't do anything for the German dude. He couldn't do anything for Nacho himself. This is something he can control, and it's going to be something that binds him to Gus more, because Gus is going to hold his word and make sure that nothing happens to his father, because Nacho held his word too. And this is going to show Gus that Mike's way of handling things and not just killing, going out and hunting out Nacho and killing his family is necessarily always the right plan. This whole situation is just going to bring Gus and Mike together more. Okay, so then we get this funny ass scene with Huel and Saul. Let's check this shit out. Check it out. Press play, motherfucker. Really? You're fucking up now? You bastard. Sorry, I'm gonna have to reset my app because I paused it too many times, and the app gets fucked up and doesn't and will make it so it will freeze if I keep doing it. But it's easy peasy. Cover girl, we're back in. Resume.
You're a lawyer. You make good money, right?
Good days and bad, but yeah.
Legit money. On the level.
Yeah, so?
Your wife's a lawyer? A legit lawyer?
I love this. Yeah. Listen, dumbass.
Why you do all this?
There's an undercurrent of dumbass too to all this. Why are you a dumbass?
I know from the outside this looks like just another scam, but you're not seeing the bigger picture.
No,
A couple months from now, there are
dumbass.
people whose lives are going to be way better because of this. We're making a real difference. Trust me. We're doing the Lord's work here.
If you say so. Be singing.
There's so much. You're so full of shit. There's so much you're full of shit as we get back into this next scene with Kim lighting her cigarette. And they set up the scene really well that at first you just don't know how Kim is going to handle this situation. Is she going to be upset about this? Is she going to be taking the tack like we've gone too far? So let's listen to this.
Boys and girls, because Huel came through. Huel says hi, by the way.
Glad to hear it.
Hey, don't be mean to Huel, Kim. That's crossing the line, Kim. Huel's the best. Go Celtics.
What's going on?
I don't know why I said that. Go
I
Celtics.
have news, Jimmy. Lalo is dead.
Holy shit.
I don't think so.
The DA's office put it together that Lalo was calling himself de Guzman. They are pretty upset they let him go.
I'll bet they are.
They just did Lalo a favor with this whole situation, but because now he can fake his own death. What does Lalo do about all this? Does Lalo survive till the end of the series? Is he gone? We know he's gone by Breaking Bad time, or we know that he's gone by Breaking Bad time because Gus says to Hector that your whole family's dead. But does Gus ever learn that Lalo isn't really dead? I know he thinks Lalo might still be alive at this point in time. He's not quite sure he's dead, but does he ever find out for real? Does Lalo ever make himself known to be alive again? Or does he just stay under the radar for the rest of his life at this point in time? It's going to be interesting to see where they go with the Lalo storyline, just because that's one of the areas that has the most flexibility to go, where we basically know generally at this point left where every character ends up. It doesn't mean there can't be interesting things that we're going to deal with along the way. There's going to be some very fun things along the way. But at this point, with Nacho being finished up tonight, Kim is obviously the big one. Her specific fate and the fate of her relationship with Jimmy. But also, but absolutely, but also that we have to figure out what happens with Lalo and how his storyline concludes and how his war with getting revenge on Gus, because he's not going to believe this fucking bullshit. If he didn't get a chance to talk to Nacho and get his confession out of him his way, he's not going to buy that it was these people that haven't even been on the show, man. But, you know, the random confession. And again, I asked the question, when will he resurface in the way to show himself again? Or will he stay off the grid forever? Do you think we'll get Lalo in 6-4 due to his absence last two? Yes, 100%. I would be very surprised if we don't see Lalo in the next episode. And I assume we're the next episodes, unless we get a complete Kim and Jimmy episode next week, and then Lalo comes back in 5. Or he's sort of the cliffhanger surprise at the end of next episode where Jimmy thinks he's doing a bunch of awesome shit or whatever, and then Lalo shows up and says, "Hey, remember me? I'm still alive. Come this way." You know, grabs him or something and brings Jimmy in on whatever his plan is. And then Jimmy becomes a pawn in another battle between Gus and Lalo, and Jimmy fucks over Lalo, so Gus kills him. You know, so something like that. Who knows? Me neither, Julianne. I'm very curious to see where this Lalo stuff ends. So they put it together. Jimmy and Kim have this discussion. Let's finish off this discussion.
But they are.
Erickson seems to think that if Lalo lied to you and you didn't know about the pseudonym, that you could break confidentiality. She wants you to talk. She says it's right.
Well, what do you think we should do?
You should do whatever you want, Jimmy. They don't have anything on you. It's just a fishing expedition to see if you bite.
So again, I think she's testing him to see how much of a player he is here. And she's like, "No, Jimmy, you need to tell me what you think right now," before she finally gives him the, "Do you want to be a friend of the cartel or do you want to be a fucking rat?" Me too, Bobby G. The most interesting storyline of all the storylines left for me is the Gene timeline. It's always been in a weird way. It's the future. It's what happens after. They've made me so interested in that Gene timeline because of how little they've actually given of it to us and how much it's at the end of the storyline. They've done a lot of amazing stuff. I really love the Chuck era. I love the Kim era. I love everything they've done with Nacho. I love everything they've done with Mike. I love the Gus stuff. I think pretty much in the stuff they've done with the Salamanca'S, I think they've really established themselves as their unique, individual, awesome show. I'm still most invested in the Gene stuff. I've always been. I want to know what's going on there, what happens after, what the ultimate fate of all these people after Breaking Bad is. We know what Jesse's fate is. We know what Walter's fate is. We obviously know what Hank's fate is. We know what Marie. We know that Walt Jr. is somewhere making breakfast. And he's probably working kitchen in Denny's or something. Then with $1 million in the bank, owns a little restaurant called Walt Jr.'s Breakfasts. This documentary series about Walter White on Netflix in this universe, called My Chemistry Teacher.
You think I should do it?
It depends.
On what?
Well, I guess it's basically, do you want to be a friend of the cartel, or
Sorry.
I guess it's basically, do you want to be a friend of the cartel, or do you want to be a rat?
Cold-blooded Kim. Oh, I love it. I fucking love it. I love the black and white and the flash forward makes Saul's world feel so desolate, depressing. It's a bit scary. No color in the world. 100%. And especially in a show that they balance that out when it's almost like every season there's a little less brightness and multicolored. The beginning of Better Call Saul was so yellow and beautiful and blah, blah, blah. And now it just keeps getting darker and more desolate till we're going to get to that black and white. It is fucking incredible. And then we get to this final scene as it's Gus and Nacho. Nacho looks beaten as we set up to our final scene as they set up this plan. This totally surprised me, took me off bat. I kept thinking there was more of a plan. There was something that was going to actually happen as we set up here, as Nacho comes out of the car. And we're going to listen to this one more time here. Really well done, and let's see if we can watch this.
Today you are going to die. But there are good deaths and there are bad deaths. Tell me what I need to know.
Tell me.
I'll see that your death is a good one.
Tell me what you're going to know.
Who put you up to this?
And they make it seem for a second like he might tell on Gus, but he isn't really. They try to do a little dramatic moment where he shifts over to Gus and looks at him and goes,
one last chance. Who?
But Nacho breaks down here. He puts his head down like he's
Alvarez.
And then he says it.
Los Ojos out of Peru. They paid me to set up your nephew. And I did.
Bobby G says, I wish there wasn't any music during Nacho's final monologue. It felt out of place. We will hear it in a second here. I definitely can hear that where you think it might have been more powerful, just bare bones.
Alvarez we know. Los Ojos we know.
And then the chicken man, he starts pointing at the chicken man. Who else is involved? Tell us the chicken man's involved.
Him?
And we get this whole thing.
You think the chicken man?
You think the chicken man?
What a joke. Alvarez has been paying me for years. But you know what? I would have done it for free because I hate every last one of you psycho sacks of shit. I opened Lalo's gate, and I would do it again, and I'm glad what they did to him. He's a soulless pig, and I wish I killed him with my own hands. And you know what else, Hector? I put you in that chair. Oh yeah, your heart meds. I switched them for sugar pills. You were dead and buried, and I had to watch this asshole bring you back. So when you are sitting in your shitty nursing home and you're sucking down on your Jell-O night after night for the rest of your life, you think of me. You twisted fuck.
Es suyo.
So Mike says, "Do it, kid," and then he puts the gun to his head and he shoots himself. Does his own, takes care of it himself. Sad. As then, and I definitely hear what you're saying, Bobby, but it also works very interestingly where they build up that music to like a ridiculous climax just to drop it out the moment Nacho dies, and then fills with nothing but silence. And then you hear the bells as they carry Hector over to the body to fire constant gunshots into the body as the episode fades out. It is haunting as Gus walks off, and that is the end of our episode of Better Call Saul. Holy shit, what an episode of Better Call Saul. It was so much fun breaking it all down. I'm going to start to wrap things up, so if you get any final questions or comments, get them in the live chat right now. But also, if you're watching this later and you've made it this far, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you thought of this episode, what you thought of the finish of Nacho, and where this season of Better Call Saul is heading towards, what you think maybe the cliffhangers at the end would be, and how you want this series to end off. Because I think no matter if it's what you want or what I want, I'm confident. And I know I might eat my words in July. Is that when it is, in July? I might eat my words in July, but as of right now, I'm going to say this. They have shown me nothing but confidence to know whether I am going to think get my ending, what I think in my mind, do my projections of what I think. It's going to be done well. It's going to be a well thought out, interesting ending. What was the blue flower in the intro? The blue flower in the intro, someone in the live chat said it earlier, what kind of flower it was. I think it was just sort of a symbolic of the Nacho situation to yet to come. I'm not sure exactly what it was. I forget who said it. Someone in the live chat had mentioned it earlier. It's where, it's the place where Nacho died. So it was to sort of symbolize Nacho's life within the desert and being the fading Mezahoo. Sorry, I'm a little drunk, so I'm not as articulate as I could be. But I believe we talk a little bit about that in the early part of the podcast. It is someone in the chat had said what kind of blue flower it is. Let me see if I can find that information out. I do know that it was Hamlinian blue color though. And Bobby G says, I prefer just the silence of the crucial moments like Hank's death. And the first 3 episodes were a little bit of letdown for Bobby, but I have faith that it will get better because there will be bigger focus on Saul and Kim. So in a sense, they got rid of the stuff that you weren't as interested in these first couple of episodes. So they clearing the decks for an end finish focused more on what you're most invested in this storyline, which is the Kim and Jimmy storyline and the breaking Kim and seeing where that all is going. And I do think that is an interesting side effect for why this was done, and maybe partially why it was done, because there's so much left that they want to do with Kim and Jimmy that they needed to clear the deck of Nacho as soon as possible, just to take away that focus of the story and to go out with these big 3-episode movie, essentially, as Kiwi was saying, and give us the Nacho final arc. Yeah, it was where the glass was laying right there. It was sort of to symbolize that spot. But there is like what that, someone in the live chat said what kind of flower that was. They Googled it and stuff, and I kind of did too. Was that the same shack where Walt and Jesse end up with Tuco and Hector? It might have been. I didn't think about that at the time, Julianne, but I might have. what I'm going to try to do, I did this last season or the last couple of seasons. I got to find the article. There was someone who did a good breakdown every week to tell all the Breaking Bad references, and then I talk about it the week after on the show. So I'm going to try to get that going for next week and start getting into a couple of the Breaking Bad Easter egg drops and stuff for the previous episodes. Just because some of them are moving so fast, and when I'm down taking notes for it, I'm not always watching as closely. I watch more on my second watch through, which is the next day, which is more for just fun. Whereas watching for this, I do, I'm like trying to type a quick recap. But anyways, everyone, I thought so too. I think it was, but I don't want to say, oh yeah, 100%. And then someone's like, "No, fucking fell." It's not. But I thought it was too. That's what I thought at the time. It's the thing that popped in my head at the moment. So first of all, one last toast as we're saying goodnight here. I have to say, listen, buddy. Listen, from me to you, to all of you guys in the live chat, thank you so much for... Whoa, there's some trumpet. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we're going to do one last toast here to the wonderful man, Nacho. Michael Mondo, I think I called you Mark Mondo for most of tonight, but Michael Mondo, you did an amazing performance, and I really loved the way you went out on that monologue. Thank you for bringing us some excitement in Better Call Saul tonight in a really awesome television program. And now we can get to business with Kim and Jimmy, see where this storyline's going. We'll be back next week, Monday night, 10:23 p.m. after the episode airs. Toast to you. Toast to Nacho. Make sure, if you haven't already, you subscribe to the Vivid Kiwi on YouTube if you want even more Better Call Saul breakdowns. Does one of the best in-depth breakdowns of Better Call Saul around. Long form podcasts. Check me out. Breakdown videos. Check out the Vivid Kiwi. Make sure you check us both out for Better Call Saul for this final season. I'll be back later this week, probably on Saturday, to talk about Ozark, the final 6 episodes. Can't wait to see how that series ends. I will also be on Tony's channel on Wednesday night, I believe, talking about the renewal of the final of season 2 of From, and taking your calls and voicemails to talk about people's thoughts on season 2, what they'd like to see for season 2 of that show. And I might be on again as well tomorrow. I'm not sure yet, but definitely on Wednesday on Tony's channel, talking about From, and either Friday or Saturday over here talking about the final season of Ozark. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Bobby, Fu, Mandrell, the Vivid Kiwi, Julian, Marco, Desert Bluebells flower. Desert Bluebells was the flower. Thank you, Thisbe. And let's, it's all about Dick on here.
Dick on, Dick on, Dick on.
If you haven't already, please hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, share the channel with a friend. It's harder than ever to get subscribers on YouTube for people that say fucking shit every other word right now, but that's just who I am. I can't help it. That's not to say I can't say golly gee, wah, willikers, but what I like most about here is just being able to close my eyes and do my stuff. I can self-censor, but I don't want to fucking self-censor. Fuck that shit. You can't be the issues guy and fucking self-censor. Fuck that, motherfuckers. So, if you think you know anybody that might like this brand of bullshit, help bring them into the clubhouse and help share the way, because that's the only way we keep growing, is with the thanks and helps of you amazing folks, and the help of honestly, the only way we've gotten this far right now is the help of Tony Teflon, Red Team Review, Carmine, Preston as well for coming on here, and so many others of the Game of Thrones, and other people like Kiwi, people like all of you people like Iron Throne, people like all those people that share the way, people like fucking Madman Martz, who shares everything all the time as well and puts it out there and helps people, and all of you guys that are in the chat every single night talking. The more you're in the chat talking, the more you're commenting, the more you are liking up the videos, the more it will get to more people. So thank you so much for everyone that checked out that first video, and keep it coming, keep it sharing, and I love you guys. We'll be back next week. Talk to you soon, guys. Peace. Woohoo! Put something up there, ya motherfucker. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Exactly. Hamalingo Blue. It had to be. Fucking had to be.